Okay, can you still see the agenda?
We can.
Okay, great. So
Christine, what about Jamie?
he had joined. Jamie, are you on?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Okay, I'm going to resume recording and then we can proceed. We're set.
Good to go.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a special meeting of the Owego County Industrial Development Agency. It is Thursday, February 25th at 2 p.m. We do have a quorum and the meeting is hereby called to order. Christine, could you do roll call, please?
Jen Ceccarelli,
Yes.
Kevin Gillette,
Yes.
Aaron Gowan,
Yes.
Martha Sabrai, John Ward,
Yes.
and our guests today we have Joe Mayer and James Gensel from Fagan Engineers and Land Surveyors with privilege of the floor. Jamie, you can take it away, please.
Sure. Would you like me to share my my screen so we can see the bid results?
I can pull them up actually. It might be a little easier for me to get there. The bid award recommendation.
I was going to show the full
Okay.
list, that way they could see that. But yeah, it's in there too as well.
Well, I am happy to let you share your screen. I just have to give you control to do that. Leanne, how do I do that? I know you've done that before.
So if you go to your participants,
Yeah.
Okay.
and then under more, or you go to my name and then make me host. If
Okay.
that's okay.
Thank you. Make host.
Yes.
Okay.
So let me hit share then. Yes. There we go. I should be able to see my spreadsheet. So the reason why I want to bring that up is we can actually do some calculations in our head. So as you recall, we had our bid opening on February 19th. We had pretty good coverage on the actual bid documents. We had, I believe, 16 plan holders, bidding plan holders. There's other plan holders like, you know, your Dodge reports and your construction exchange reports. But we had 16 potential bidders on the project. Of that, we had 8 actually bid. So what you see in front of you now is, in alphabetical order, the list of our bidders. One thing we can go over what we did is we split the project up into 3 separate contracts. Contract A was the site readiness package, so it's more of like an earthwork, site work project. Contract B was your water main project, so that's all mostly your piping work. And then contract C is your water tank. So you'll notice anyone could bid on whatever contract they want, or all 3 contracts, or just one. So what we did is we got 8 bidders. Some of them bid on both contract A and contract B, but most of them only did not bid on contract C. Contract C, the water tank, was very specific. We had specific performance requirements required of us from Suez, the eventual owner of the water system. So we really had a tight, narrow band which we could have had bidders. To be honest, it's so tight, maybe there would be 2 available bidders nationwide. So that's why you see only 1 bid for that. Contract A, if you go through, we had 5 bidders on that. And then on contract B, we had 4 bidders. Contract A, the parent low was RB Robinson. 138,291. And they were also the parent low on contract B, 463,183. One of the things we did in the review and the analysis was actually go through all different scenarios with the alternates to see who would actually still be, if RB Robinson would still be the parent low. So alternate A1 through A4 for contracts A, alternate B1 is for contract B. So what you see there is I bolded those as well, so you can be able to see that a little bit better. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. So you'll see for each of these alternates, Robinson still was the parent low. So they provided the best value for the alternates. During this meeting, we got to make a decision to either include those alternates as part of this bid or not. And that's one of the things I would like to have a little discussion, as we move forward. Aquastore was our parent low bid for contract C. Does anyone have any questions on this so far? I don't want to get too far along. Good. One of the nice things, just kind of taking a step back, our two apparent lows were usually in the same area, so that makes us feel a little bit better. There were a couple outliers, high bids that you can kind of understand whether or not they really wanted the project or not, but I think we have pretty good coverage. I am happy with our numbers, just mainly because our original estimates were from last year. And if you've tried to buy any materials right now, you'll notice pricing has gone way up since last year. If you go buy a 2x4 right now, you're going to be quite surprised on the price change from last year. So all in all, I was happy to see the numbers where we landed. So we did interview both apparent lows, one to make sure that they understand the project, but also two to make sure that they understand the timing of the project. We do have a tight schedule to start up contract A, and they were in agreement with that approach. So I guess the first question I have for y'all is if we can get the process going, give a notice of a parent low or a notice of award to each of the two contractors. One step back, I apologize. One other thing I talked to contractor A and B, RB Robinson, is they requested that we merge the two contracts back together. The reason why we broke those apart was originally to put separate time frames on contract A so that we ensure that site readiness work, the stream relocation work, happens in a timely manner. They've agreed to that process. So I do not see an issue with combining the two contracts. It'll make it easier on everyone from a paperwork point of view. If we have only two, apologize, my phone is ringing. It would make it easier for us on a paperwork point of view to merge contract A and B, mainly because of one, you'll have only one payment request per month to review. We'll be able to issue paperwork as one versus two. So I don't see any issue with that, but I did want to take that request from the contractor to the IDA board to make sure you guys are okay with that process. So,
Jamie, I have another question for you.
Sure.
So do we have to decide on these alternates at this point right now, whether we're going to accept them or add them back in, or how does that work with the alternates that have been identified?
So Yes, you really should do it at this time. Otherwise, it would be considered a change order, which we could request later on, but they do not have to necessarily give us the same pricing. So if you want to lock these prices in, I would say yes. If you don't, the likelihood of them changing a lot, I don't think is really there, but you never know. When we're going through the alternates, the one alternate that I feel that is definitely necessary is alternate A3, the fencing, with security requirements these days. That I don't think the fence is an optional piece. We just wanted to see how that was broken out. The other option you could do is later on solicit pricing for fencing directly from fencing contractors. We can say to move it along. Usually a contractor adds a certain percentage to things like that. And that's one, I guess the other piece to bring that up is Robinson would not self-perform that work. They would sub that out. But I did ask them, they did say they would prefer to have all the alternates in place at this time.
So the IDA board, do you all understand what's included in these alternates and what we're really talking about here? And maybe Jamie give an idea why they are in here as alternates and not part of the actual bid packet?
Sure. So alternate A1 and A2 are pretty much the same. What the base contract is for contract A is to install, rough in and construct a new access road around the proposed water tank with roadway fabric and roadway gravel. Alternate A1 would provide the binder, the next layer in the asphalt of a typical road, and that's 2 inches of binder. Alternate A2 would then be an additional inch of top put on the top, the wearing course of the pavement. Alternate A3 is the security fence around the tank as a whole. Just it's roughly, I think, I don't know how many lineal feet, but off the top of my head, but it is just around the actual tank pad, and it also includes the gates. Guide rail, this one I would probably recommend not taking at this time. Is there was down on the beginning of the access drive, there's a little S curve, and this provides guide rail around both sides of that.
Well, I would say that the binder is almost a must-have because of the elevation and gravel, and I don't care what you put under it. At some point, it's going to end up at the bottom of the hill. And the tank security fence, it can either be included in this or sourced, like you say, after the fact. This is Kevin. I would say those two are needed.
And we have to do the A2? I guess I'm not.
So you can hold off on E2, but just keep in mind that binder is not meant to be on its own. It will fall apart over time if it's not topped with a wearing course.
So this is what Suez had requested be included, and so Jamie broke them out as a possibility that if push came to shove and we needed to start cutting some things, if the numbers got too high, where could we possibly cut? And that's why he put it forth as alternates rather than part of the original bid packet. But
yeah, so this road becomes Suez's?
Yes.
Okay, so we're putting a top coat on a driveway for Suez.
Correct.
Sure. Want to hear my French?
No, put that way, Aaron. I say put some gravel down. I'm a pretty happy guy.
Is it a must that we do this for Suez?
Well, the risk is that this is what they've requested be included. The risk is that Suez comes back and says, yeah, no, we're not going to take this property unless it's to this X standard. So, there is a risk there that they would not accept the property unless it's how they spec'd it out to be.
So these 4 alternates are in their specifications.
Yes,
So why are they alternates?
because
We can cut them all we want, but if we cut them, Leanne, then they could reject the property. So I think we're running in circles here. I don't understand it at all.
The reason why we put the alternates was at the time that we actually got the bid out, we hadn't had a complete understanding of what they really wanted at the time. They were still not as definitive in their answers.
Yeah, well, to me, I mean, I would say go ahead and we put it all in and include it and agree to it. I mean, for $11,000, I guess, to hold up this project that's been going on for 4 or 5 years, I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah, the only one I would suggest thinking of really dropping it is the guide rail, because we might be able to do the 430 feet of guide rail is, might not be as necessary once we build this that we could, but whether or not we could get a local sole source provider or not. But the other pieces I would A1 and A3 definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other option is potentially doing like an oil and stone treatment of the driveway, but once again, like I can't remember who mentioned it. If it was Kevin or Aaron, but eventually that will not maintain well, especially when you got to plow it.
Okay, the guide rail is really for what?
There's a pretty decent elevation as you drive up the access road, and it's mainly so their guy doesn't drive off the side. We're talking about a 15 or 16 foot drop access road with some 3-to-1 slopes on either side when you're going up the S curve.
So what we're talking about today is moving forward and awarding RB Robinson with merged contracts A and B and alternates A1 and A3. Is that what we're talking?
That would be my recommendation, at least. If we feel comfortable to do A2, yes, I would add that in too. But A4, I would actually recommend holding off on. Alternate B1, just so we cover that one as well. That was again an added bonus that we were given. Suez originally told us that they would be able to provide, their pumps were sufficient to provide water to the tank. Subsequently, we found that was not the case, so we had to purchase, part of the addition into our base bid was new pumps and installing those new pumps. And I asked for a number for what if we just provided the pumps and Suez did their own install. That deduct is very little. I would not even think about doing it, but I just wanted to make sure you guys understood why we had that in there as well.
So if we don't add that in, Robinson puts the pump in and installs it? I don't understand.
So this, right now under the base contract, Robinson will do the pump station upgrades install. And if we took this deduct, all they would do is provide the materials on a pallet next to the pump station. So we do not recommend taking alternate B1.
So it would be up to Suez to actually do the install, and that makes us very nervous.
We would have a good fight. I have that feeling. So let's stay away from that, please.
Okay, so Robinson's gonna do the install.
Mhm.
Okay, if we don't add that one. All right, gotcha.
So are we going to consider A2 or not as an
Yes.
alternate?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say so. I mean,
So
Doesn't sound like it's worth the fight.
alternates would be A1 through A3.
right.
Okay. Got it. Any other
And this
questions?
road, this road does not impact any of the housing. It goes from the housing up the hill. It doesn't impact any of that housing. It's not going to make access available to any other
Correct.
area on that hill.
Correct. This is a private access drive just to the water tank. It would not be to any town or village standards for access for future development.
And how often would they be going up to this water tank?
I wouldn't know their schedule, but I would assume it's at least, I would say initially every other day, but you know, it'd probably come down to a weekly type inspection. And this is accessed off the parking area for the apartment building itself.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I'm okay with voting.
Are we good with statewide Aquastore for contract C? Any further questions about that?
No, we got to
There's
go.
only two contractors in the whole country that are going to bid on it. I guess we're going to have to be happy with one of them.
Okay.
It seems kind of ridiculous in a country of 320 some million people. We have two
Right.
contractors for a particular item, but I guess it happens.
It does.
But that's the
All
focus,
right.
the narrow focus of the tank from Suez. It's got nothing to do with reality. It's Suez's request.
All right, guys and girls. I'm seeking a motion to award RB Robinson with merged contracts A and B, and alternates A1 through A3.
I make that motion.
Thanks, Kevin. Do I have a second?
I'll make a second, John.
Thanks, John. Christine, roll call vote, please.
Jen Tecarelli,
Yes.
Kevin Gillette,
Yes.
Aaron Gowan,
Yes.
John Ward.
Yes.
Super, thanks. The next item, I'd like to keep these separate. I'd like to seek a motion to move forward with awarding contract C to statewide Aquastore.
So moved. Ms. Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron. Second, please.
Second.
Thanks, Kevin. Christine, roll call.
Jen Tecarelli,
Yes.
Aaron Gowan,
Yes.
Kevin Gillette,
Yes.
John Ward.
Yes.
Great.
Super. Jamie, thank
Okay.
you so much.
Before Jamie goes, we're going to need to talk about the change orders that we already know are coming. So, Jamie, the Aquastore and the box culvert, if you could just talk about those so everybody's aware that we already know these are coming and why.
Sure. So for Aquastore, when we were able to get this the documents out to bid, we still had some outstanding questions for Suez, which included what the formal SCADA system would be. SCADA is the data network that connects the water tank up to the rest of their water system. You know, it actually tells the pumps when to pump and when to operate. It also has like alarms and such. They still have not provided that documentation to let us know. So what I did as part of the bidding process, because the contractors were going to start giving me, lots of questions on how to do this apples to apples. I gave a straight allowance number for that bid item. Actually, let's do this. So you'll see, this is actually our contract form that we sent out to everyone. We actually listed in that area for the C8, which was a catch-all for a number of items. It included our SCADA system, the meter vault, electric system, connecting the system up to the electric, and there's a little bit of storm piping. I put a low number in there of $20,000. I was hoping that would influence their thought process for the future. But I gave that standard number to all bidders so that we wouldn't have 500 questions about the same thing. What is the SCADA? What is the final electric connection? So Aquastore notified me, well, $20,000 would not cover those items. The meter vault and the storm work were going to be an additional $55,000 on top of the 20, and that did not include the SCADA. So I said, still bid it as 20,000, and then when we get into the project, since we got some time before we're going to build the tank, we have some time to get the answers from Suez. So we do know that the meter vault work and the electric work and storm work is going to cost an additional $55,000 on top of this number. Now, keep in mind, we also have an allowance item here of $10,000. That is for ancillary changes to all these items. Say if there's a $500 change order or something, I can institute that cost with discussions with the IDA staff to implement those things. That doesn't have to go through a formal change order process for the whole board. So say if we have to undercut a little bit of bad soil in the foundation, we could cover in here if it's under $10,000. If it's not, then we do a change order. So we do have a little bit of contingency built into this contract. We have similar allowances on contract B. We have 20,000 there and 10,000 for contract A. But so we have $50,000 in contingency money, or excuse me, $40,000 in contingency money for the entire project. But I just, assume that is going to get spent at some point, because there are always requirements for little things during construction. But we will, on contract C, have at least a $55,000 change order. Now, keep in mind, that was also when Aquastore did not know who the site contractor was going to be for the other projects. You usually like to put these all into one big project, because then you can get some economy of scale there. So Aquastore is going to revisit this item, talk to the two site contractors that are out there, Gorick and Robinson, and then give us a final change order request. That will need to come in front of this IDA as a change order. On Robinson's contract, there is a similar issue, but we've actually discussed this. What we had on, are you guys seeing the Robinson contract? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I'm sharing the right thing. So on the Robinson contract, or actually on contract A in general, our intent was to move this, expedite the stream crossing work by sole sourcing the crossing, the box culverts. However, that became a little less necessary because we came up with a way to make the box culverts so that they could be installed after the stream crossing's done. So what we've requested Robinson to do is to get their own bids for sole sourcing, or actually providing the box culverts, instead of our original bid documents for A7 and A8 was that we were going to provide the box culverts. Now we're going to include it into their contract. So we'll have a change order to add those back into their contract A.
But we don't know the price. I mean, that's $6,200 and $6,000.
Right. We already had one quote for the box culverts for both A7 and A8 of $40,000, roughly. It was under that. So we'll have at least a change order of $40,000, unless I get it better, I guess.
Okay.
And once again, the reason why we did that is, one, to make sure we had apples to apples numbers from these guys, because there was a question on box culverts. When they get sent to a precaster, they have to design them. So we actually paid for a preliminary design for that for those during the bidding process. So we've provided that preliminary design to Robinson so he can get an official design and official cost estimate from his precaster, whoever he uses as a supplier.
Any other questions? Nope. Okie dokie. Thanks, Jamie.
Looking forward to getting the project going.
We are too. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for your time.
Christine, do you want to move on with the next item on the agenda?
Yes.
Oh,
Jamie, can you give me
yeah.
host?
I was just noticing that I got to give you back control. Sorry.
Thanks.
That should work now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
See you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay. Can you all see the agenda?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. So we've received the pilot application from Stagecoach, also known as Central New York Oil and Gas, for the new 5-year pilot to include the 3 highest assessed value parcels. As previously discussed many times, IDA has received town, county, and school letters and resolutions in support of this new 5-year pilot. So the 3 parcels to be included have roughly 87 million, 9 million, and $18 million assessed values. And we are releasing the 7 other parcels from the agreement with the lower assessed values, just carrying over the top 3 in the new proposed pilot. Does anybody have questions or need for discussion before approving this resolution? I can share the resolution. Does anybody have questions in general or need for discussion, or would you feel ready to vote on this?
So moved, Aaron.
Second.
Second, please. Thank you.
Okay. Roll call vote. Jen Ceccarelli,
Yes.
Kevin Gillette,
Yes.
Aaron Gowan,
Yes.
John Ward.
Yes.
Great. We need to talk about anything else today?
Leanne,
Yes,
when we adjourn, can you give me a call on the resolution?
yes.
On my cell. Thank you.
All right. We shall see everyone next Wednesday for our regular board meeting. Can I have a motion, please, to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Everybody have a good evening, and thank you so much for participating.
Thanks, Jenny.
You.
See ya.
Thank you.